Good evening. Welcome to Health Quest. I'm Deborah Arneson, your host for tonight, and we have a great show for you. We're talking about the synergy of acupuncture and the benefits, the many modalities of healing that there are in the world. Acupuncture is actually my very most favorite, but it's my very most favorite because I have actually probably one of the best acupuncturists that I've ever encountered here this evening as a guest, and I really don't endorse people unless I use them and try them on and see how they are before I suggest them to other people. So we're gifted to have Charlie Rojek in our clinic and our presence. So Charlie, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And I see you have Christina Pfeiffer with you.
Yes.
Why is Christina here?
We're going to be doing acupuncture on Christina.
You are great.
I'm
a lucky guinea pig. Okay, good. So you're going to show people some of the techniques that you use.
And I just want to show them that it's not torture.
Okay.
That it's very easy to handle. And
right. The needles are really actually little and tiny and slide in, and they don't hurt.
Right.
You know, just like people's experience of what they think it might be
right.
is what gets in the way
Big
of them
fear
actually
of
doing
needles
it. Yeah.
in the United States.
Well, you know, your needles aren't normal needles.
Right.
So tell us about yourself real quick. You're a licensed, board-certified acupuncturist?
I have a Master of Science in Chinese Medicine.
Okay.
And I use acupuncture as my focus therapy to treat imbalances in the body.
Wonderful. And you've been doing this for a couple years now, right?
About 5 years now, yes.
Fabulous. You look so young. You look like a baby. You're beautiful. So what is acupuncture?
Acupuncture is the insertion of thin, solid stainless steel needles into small depressions in the skin, otherwise known as acupuncture points.
Okay.
And these points are areas where the energy of the body, or the chi of the body, flows closest to the surface, so that we have access to the internal body through the surface of the body.
That's wonderful. So you can change the way the energy moves in the body just by inserting the needle in a specific point.
Right, exactly.
I know, because when you do it on me, it's like, I'm falling asleep lately when you needle me. It's hysterical.
I love it too.
Yeah, it's really very,
I never thought I'd say that, but I love getting, I just love the experience.
I told Charlie if she leaves me, I'll stalk her. Because when I get needled, it's just, you know, I feel fabulous for, I'd say, 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
You know, until I do something to ruin my back or lift something too heavy. So when did acupuncture actually originate in the history of mankind?
It's over 2,000 years old. It originated in China.
Okay.
And the ancient people of China started to realize that they could, by manipulating areas on the body, they could acquire desired results, like the relief of pain or discomfort. And so it just sort of, from there on, sort of built up and got more organized, more scientific. Now there's lots of studies done on it. And
I wonder how it was for the first people who got needled, because I hear some of those needles were pretty big.
They were made out of stone. Stone needles.
Ouch. Can you imagine?
Oh.
Did you see some of the artifacts when you were in China studying?
They didn't have any artifacts at the university and at the hospital, unfortunately,
Really?
but I could just imagine.
That's amazing. How does Chinese medicine envision the body today?
Chinese medicine envisions the body as having organized channels where the chi, which is your life energy, your life force, it's what makes you think and move and feel, where chi, blood, and your moistening fluids circulate through. And they're organized, and they're all linked together. So in some roundabout way, the toe is linked to the, to the head, and everything is connected.
So like when you get a pinch here, you feel it over there?
Sometimes,
kind of thing.
yeah,
Okay.
very often, yeah.
Right. So the reason that they have come up with this map is they used to experiment with these stone needles, and they found out that you could touch one part of the body and elicit a response in another.
Right.
Okay. In Chinese medicine, what is the healthy state for the body to be in?
When you have adequate amounts of energy, chi, blood, and moistening fluids, and the importance of chi, like I was saying, is it's the activating force in your body. It's what makes you move and feel. The blood is the foundation for which we build bone, organs, muscles, tissues, vessels.
Right.
And the moistening fluid is what helps to protect and lubricate the body. So it's so you need to have adequate amounts of all of these constituents
To have a healthy body.
Flowing, that's another important part.
Flowing.
Because you could have adequate amounts and then for some reason, whether it be physical trauma or emotional stress, they stop flowing and then, you know, some problems arise. You start to feel nauseous or whatever the case may be.
So what causes a lack of flowing? Dehydration or?
Well, that's, like I was saying, you need to have adequate amounts of chi, blood, and moistening fluids.
Okay.
If you have adequate amounts, if you eat the right things, if you hydrate yourself well enough, and you also, you know, move around and sweat and sort of promote the flow of your body's chi, then that is a healthy state. Adequate amounts of your fluids and chi and blood flowing smoothly throughout the channels without any stagnation or any anything inhibiting it.
Now, I have a question for you because one of my clients came in today and she had done a live blood cell analysis and she saw underneath the microscope that her red blood cells were absolutely not moving. What would cause something like that?
Well, it's a sign of stagnation,
Okay.
first off.
She feels real stuck in her life too. That's kind of an interesting analogy.
Oh yeah, it crosses over.
Emotionally and physically. Okay, very stuck.
If you feel stuck physically, your activity level is going to be stuck. You're just in life, you're going to be stuck. So, I mean, I have a client who's very emotional. Can't concentrate because her emotions are always all over the place. And so we do acupuncture so that she can just get it together, so that she can formulate a thought and, you know,
follow through on it.
Cook a meal without fumbling and stumbling and so it's amazing. It helps with just every aspect of your life. It helps with being creative. Even it helps with immunity, strength. You can tonify.
Well, I was telling you, and I'll share this with our viewing audience, that, you know, I'm such a seeker of alternative medicine. I just love body work. I'm just like,
yeah,
you know, I'll just go and try something else. And I've always done body work my whole life, and that's been 25 years now. So when I tried acupuncture years ago with very little change or difference or notable improvement, you know, for the problems. And so when I started working with you, which was last September, it seems to have brought me to a whole new level entirely in my well-being. Like it's just, I just feel better in general, overall, in every way. I think there are absolutely no dips in energy in my day ever now. And I was starting to experience that a couple of years ago where there may be a day or two a week where around 3 o'clock I'd get that kind of like, oh, got a bottle and a binky sounds good, you know? You know, curl up in my bed in the corner. But I don't have that. And it's just, it's a general feeling of well-being that permeates my essence, you know, which is amazing. So I attribute it to acupuncture.
And it really reaches a deep level, I feel. And that's because we're able to access the internal energy through these access points. Especially, I really recommend acupuncture if you are somewhat healthy and have a good constitution, then acupuncture, it gives acupuncture needles more to work with because you have a good amount of chi. Some people are so deficient and weak that you need to do a lot of tonifying before you can even before you can even really work on any problems in the channels. If someone doesn't have enough chi or is blood deficient, they don't have enough blood circulating, which could be caused from a digestive weakness where they're not building the blood from their food. Then, you know, it's kind of compounding.
Right. You're looking at where do you start with the foundation. Well, I know for both Christina and I think you had a problem a couple weeks ago and you went to Charlie and she needled you at the inception of, what was it?
I had kind of vertigo, and I felt this incredible pressure in my head, almost like I was coming down with something, but it was also headachy. Couldn't really pinpoint what it was, and she needled me, and within a half hour it went away.
I had the same thing, remember, a couple days before.
It was so bizarre.
It's now, from what I could tell, what Christina was suffering from is, it was like the onset of a cold, or maybe flu. The onset
was coming.
Yes. And like you had said, your boyfriend was sick. He had been ill.
Right.
And so she felt like maybe it was starting to sort of invade her body. And at that time, in Chinese medicine, we envision it as like the like an external pathogen entering your system. So when you catch it at the external layers of the body, when it's
You
just
nap it.
right, when it's just muscle aches, or when it's just like the onset, like just you start to feel sort of a swollen, scratchy, sore throat, or you start to feel dizzy or headachy. When you catch it at that point, it's amazing. You can pull it right out of the body.
It's totally amazing
It
because
is.
you did that for me last year.
Yeah.
I had that surgery, and after
I
my
do it
surgery,
for
I was
everyone, no
sick
matter
all the
where we
time.
are.
I mean, I was catching like head things all the time. Remember how
Yeah.
hot, and it seemed like everything was trapped up here after that surgery I'd had.
Yeah.
And I would come to Charlie. I had to fly the next day, one day, and I felt this like pressure in my nose and just stuffy. And I was like, Charlie, what am I gonna do? And she goes, oh, okay, puts me on the table, and I look like a cat. I had needles sticking out all over my nose and everywhere. And I was like, what if I sneeze? And you were like, oh, Deborah, your body knows not to do that, you know.
It does.
And it did. It did not sneeze. And it was like you turned on a fountain. My nose just ran, and all this mucus was just released. And the next day, it was like I had nothing. I got on the plane and I flew.
Yeah.
And you did that a couple times for me. I mean, you've done it probably 5 times. It's amazing. So yeah, if you catch it before it catches you,
Right.
it's gone. You won't even have to
Before
deal with it.
before it invades into any deeper levels in the body.
Right.
We say the body's sort of like an onion where you peel off layers to get to deeper stuff. So if you catch it while it's at the external layer, then you peel off that layer and you're all good.
Well, I love having you accessible, to my patient base as well, because I can take people to that, first, second, third, fourth level of the onion, then it's time to start getting in there.
Right.
So
Yeah.
doing things like acupuncture and colon hydrotherapy and panchakarma are just deeper and deeper and deeper levels of healing the body.
Yeah.
But I do believe there has to be a strong foundation, like people have to be stable enough to deal with it. So what do you think causes disease in the body?
Well, disease in the body arises when your energy and your blood and your moistening
All that
fluids,
stagnation sets
the
in.
constituents of your body, everything that flows through the channels, when they start to stagnate. And like I had mentioned before, it can be emotional. A lot of people get pent up emotionally. That can cause these constituents to stagnate. It can be physical trauma, and then you get the scarring tissue, you get the swelling, the heat. It can be that. It can be diet. Bad diets cause a lot of stagnation in the body. So when it starts with stagnation, it starts with the lack of flow. So things start to gather around it, toxins, and stagnant organ energy. The organs in the body in Chinese medicine also have qi to them. It's a function. They have an organ function. And when that function becomes stagnated or weakened, then problems start to arise. Because, for instance, let's talk the liver. In Chinese medicine, the liver is responsible energetically for the smooth and free coursing of energy throughout the body. So a lot of the times emotional upset will cause liver qi stagnation. Say you have a death in the family, and just the sunken sorrow is causing so much stagnation and internal, where they're just retaining so much. So you do sort of liver points to release the liver energy and allow it to flow again. And it's amazing because when you do it, the people actually feel better. Yes, their loved one is still gone, but they are able to cope with it better. So
Isn't that wonderful?
It is. It's nice to be able to help people, even though you can't bring back
a loved one.
You're right. But at least you can make them feel a little less sickly and just distraught.
And horribly sad about it. Well, how does acupuncture work then? I mean, like you're going to give us an example with Christina. You're going to do some meridians or do some, points on her. What are you going to work on with Christina?
We're going to do a point on her hand, LI4. This point is a very important point, a very powerful point in Chinese medicine. It is the command point for the upper body, so it opens up the channels to the upper body. And it's used a lot for headaches, dizziness, congestion in the head, things like that. And also for releasing the exterior, like we were talking about, releasing the external layer of the body, help pull out pathogens that might enter.
Well, this is good because you're detoxing right now. Okay, great.
So it's Yeah, we're just going to do the hand points. It's just,
Okay.
I want to show people that it's not torture, that it's
Yeah.
and she enjoys it, and
Yeah,
I enjoy it.
Okay, so these are your needles.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what you have here.
I'm just going to wash my hands with this alcohol.
So now, when you assess someone like Christina, you have a conversation with them and ask them like what their present complaint is, and then you kind of decide what triage method to take, like first, second, or third. I know you always look at people's tongue.
Always the tongue, the pulse, and also their symptoms, history, everything, every clue tells a story about the body.
Right.
It's not just one symptom. It's all the clues put together that tell a story about the internal climate of your body. So there's actually a book that I love the saying that it says that in Chinese medicine, the doctor is the gardener. So they garden they tend to your internal garden and balance it out. If it needs water or moisture, you give it water and moisture. If it needs to be cooled down, you cool it down. So it's a system of balancing out the internal climate.
That's wonderful. Christy, you're going to sleep great and feel fabulous or more fabulous tomorrow. It's wonderful. That's fine, honey.
Okay, I'm just going to swab these points.
So you use a little bit of alcohol to clean it.
Always
And this is
swab
the
them.
needle here.
That's 5 needles there.
5 needles here.
Those are
Okay.
individually packaged, and
So they're all sterile. Okay.
this, especially in the United States, I stick with pre-packaged, sterilized, disposable needles.
Okay. And how long is the actual needle?
This one is a 40-millimeter needle, so
Okay.
I'd say it was it's about 2.5, 3 inches.
Okay.
But
And how deep does the needle go?
Here we're going to go about half an inch, maybe not even that.
Okay.
Okay, so you just rest your hands comfortably.
Now when you turn it, you're just putting it in a little bit to
Yeah, you just
To
sort of
access
to
that
work it
meridian.
in.
How does it feel?
Feels great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
I actually can't even really feel that one.
Can't feel it? Because you're so centered right now, Christina. You're totally balanced.
In order to get chi, sometimes we twirl it a little.
Ooh.
Now you feel.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's about it. That's all you feel. You sort of feel like a ooh.
It's like the
And now
electricity, yeah.
It's a sign that the chi has arrived at the needle, and that's good for as an acupuncturist, because then it means the needle is working
Right.
and that it's activated.
Okay.
So I don't mind. It's not. That's probably everyone's least favorite part is the ooh,
Yeah.
that little feeling. But
Right.
it's a split second.
Yeah,
and
it
now,
goes right away.
How does it feel for you?
I still feel it.
Like a warm, tingling, dull ache.
Right,
Probably
just pulling
dull ache,
energy.
dull ache.
Yeah.
And she works a lot with her hands. And this muscle, I can tell on her, is very full and strong. So she's got a lot of energy in there. So it's going to be more active. So that's
Okay.
one of the reasons why she's feeling a lot of, maybe an achiness and activity in that
Actually
area.
feels warm now.
Now it feels warm.
Warm.
Changes.
It changes. It
Right.
changes. And normally into people's sessions, by maybe after 10 minutes of just relaxing with the needles in, you just fall into a really balanced, sort of deep,
State.
relaxed state.
I know.
And there's no pain involved. I mean, once you're into the session, there's no pain.
Right.
Getting the needles in and helping people to get over their fear of allowing the needles to enter their body is probably the hardest part. But it's not.
And you're so sweet and good about it. You're very gentle, and you
Thank you.
babysit the needles, which is very
do,
unusual.
yeah.
You're there, present and accountable, and very caring. So that goes
Okay,
a
we're
long
gonna-
way with me.
We're going to do her other hand so that she feels balanced, so that one
Okay.
side.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right. So Christina, how often do you do acupuncture?
Not often enough.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Good.
How does that feel?
Feels fine.
Okay.
So now, I know sometimes when the needle goes in, you'll see like a little dimpling almost around the needle, which means
Sometimes you will actually see
like a drawing in.
Yeah, the body actually sort of draws them in.
Because it wants it.
Yeah.
Deeper. Deeper than
Give me
what you-
more.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Can you needle too much?
I don't think so.
Not for me, man.
No,
It's like,
I mean,
well,
there's
love
no.
it. Yes.
No, there's no. I mean, during treatments, you pick specific points. You know, you don't just put like 100 points all over the body.
Right.
You pick. You have a treatment plan and a treatment protocol, and you do the most powerful points that are going to help them with their chief complaint.
Right. And do people see instant results most of the time? Is it over a day or two?
Some people feel it immediately.
Because a lot of people walk out of your room looking so mellow.
Yeah.
Just kind of like, blah, blah. You know, they just look like big babies. You know, just got a feeding.
And that's often, that happens often, that you feel, because it does bring you to a really relaxed state.
A balanced state.
But when it, like if we're treating pain, some people's pain goes away immediately, especially if it's acute. If it's something that just started today or yesterday, and you needle it, it can go away immediately or within the next 12 hours or by the next day.
Right.
Chronic problems take a little longer.
Oh, can I share my chronic problem?
Sure.
Okay. I had a pain in my right tush, and I'd had this pain for 3 years. And can I tell you how much money I spent seeing chiropractors and massage therapists? I mean, everybody. You know, it was like one of these pains where like you have to wake up at night and move your leg over and stretch it out. And it was deep. Couldn't get at it. You know, it would get gentle relief for a while. Charlie needled me last September when we were in Wisconsin with the Moxa, which we'll talk about next.
It was 4 treatments in 1 week.
It was 4 treatments within, like, I think a 10-day period or something, and it went completely away.
Yeah.
And I was like, this cost me how much compared to how much I've spent? And it was amazing, because the Moxa, I'm sure, was the secret for me.
I wanted to just say a little something about
talk
Moxa.
about it.
Moxa is an herb that we burn, and if we use it in like a Moxa candle, that would be like a Moxa stick where we light the end, and then we would gently warm the needle and the skin. The needle, or you can also put a Moxa roll on the end of the needle and burn it so that the heat transmits down the needle into the muscle, into the channel, warming, tonifying, dissipating energy, relieving stagnation, and sort of melting away adhesions. Really powerful,
Great
especially
for adhesions then.
And in Chinese medicine, a lot of times pain is caused by cold trapped within the channels, because we can actually internalize the external environment. And if cold becomes trapped in the body, Moxa works wonders for it.
Ugh,
Yeah.
I love it.
Me too.
It's great.
It is. It's great.
It is just amazing. Like when you do it on my upper back, I feel like all those adhesions I have in my upper back, probably from being a gymnast, just kind of like blah.
Yeah.
You know, help to break them down. So moxibustion is something that you could do repetitively.
Moxibustion is the burning of moxa,
the burning.
hence moxibustion.
Okay.
And that's used hand in hand with acupuncture, especially when it's if people have a deficiency in their body. It helps to tonify and warm, helps to activate organs, muscles, vessels.
So could you do moxa
tissues.
on these points on Christina?
You could.
Yeah. Okay.
You could.
And what would it bring to her that just needling her would not?
Well, it would bring the warm energy down through the needle into the channel. So it would increase circulation a lot.
And kind of relax that muscle?
Yeah, it would calm, but it would increase circulation, relieve stagnation. She'd probably feel a nice, gentle warmth. That's pretty much all people feel with moxibustion is gentle warmth. There's no burning involved, or and so because heat drives energy, drives fluids. So that's what it causes to. You know, we're made mostly of water, and what heat does to water is what it does to us. So if someone already has a hot condition and they're very dehydrated anyway, and they're like really like angry all the time, and you wouldn't really, moxa isn't really
appropriate for them.
Not really, no. But for someone who's more sedated and needs some activating, needs to be driven a little, then the heat does wonders for that.
That's great. Now, how does the moxibustion feel? Do most people tell you that they feel the warmth melting their muscle, or do they feel
mostly
more relaxed?
they feel gentle warmth. they feel relaxed.
Okay, afterwards. Now, do you see most of your clients, like you said, if they have a chronic problem, that it goes away, you know, in a longer period of time? But I had a chronic problem. I think 3 years is chronic. It went away in 4 treatments. So obviously I was missing the boat for 3 years and just didn't find the right modality of healing, right? So for people who are starting out with chronic problems, is it better for them to see you frequently or to see an acupuncturist more frequently?
Oh, yeah.
Like twice or 3 times a week for a
More
week or
and more,
2?
Yeah.
And then get in front of it and then back off of
Right.
it. And then they'll see the relief more immediately or imminently. Okay.
And with chronic problems, normally what happens is after it's like if you were to look at a graph, the pain level being here, first treatment the pain level would go down a little. Then after might come back a little bit. Next treatment go down even more. Might come back a little bit, go down even more.
That's wonderful.
Come back a little bit. So you know, finally you get to finally you get to the point where there is no more pain.
Right.
And you know,
and then you start working on the next problem.
And it's important not, you know, if at first the pain is relieved and you feel great, and normally people push themselves further than they should because they've never felt so great in years.
Right. They undo it.
And then it comes back a little, and then oh, this isn't going to work. Nothing worked. You know, but they have to be patient. They come back, bring it down a little more. It might come back a little bit, and that's with chronic problems.
Well, and you know, it took years to get into that position, and people forget about the 20 years plus that they've been abusing that, you know, part of their body, actually. So what are the most common things you see when you treat people for acupuncture? What do people come in with, like 80, 70, 90% of the time?
A lot of pain.
Like specific areas?
Well, a lot of pain in the legs. That's very common. Pain everywhere. Pain in the body. Pain in the body is very common.
Okay.
And you read a lot about acupuncture, and it's always connected with pain. But it's wonderful for many things. You can treat internal disorders for the body, PMS, headaches, dizziness, colds, flus, urinary problems,
incontinence.
Sure. You can treat weakness.
Low back pain.
Low back pain.
Well, I know you're working with someone right now who has diabetes, who's got the numbness in the legs, and you're helping that. It hasn't progressed at all.
Right.
And he's not addressing diet.
Right.
So that's pretty impressive.
He personally doesn't do much for himself, but he does come in for his acupuncture treatments, and we've been able to halt the progression.
That's great. We're out of time, ladies.
Okay.
So Charlie, you got to get her needles out.
Yeah.
But it was great having you. Thank you so much for your time and your energy.
Of
This
course.
was wonderfully informational.
Yeah.
If you need more information on acupuncture, or if I can help you locate Charlie, or help you answer some questions, please call me. I'm Deborah Arneson, bringing you Health Quest. Until next week, take very good care of your health. Good night now.
We're going to remove